Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Box of Roses podcast. I'm Xander Rose, and with me, as always, is Alex Box. He is one of Australia's best high flyers. He is a drummer. He is a DJ. He is Djaysonic, Jason Isaac. Hello, buddy. How you going?
G'day. Good, mate. How are you?
Good, mate. Fantastic. What's been happening?
That's good. Nothing much. Just enjoying the end of this lockdown period. So back to normal in a couple of days on Monday. So it's awesome.
You've had a kid, a baby girl.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to have a little baby girl on the 19th of July. So it was early lockdown period. So it's been an awesome couple of months for me. I got to say, I haven't really experienced any negative stuff during the lockdown. I know a lot of people, just like mentally and physically are just, pretty down. But for myself, I guess I've been preoccupied with a little bub. So it's been pretty awesome. I've had something to keep me busy.
Well, I just want to say welcome to the party, pal. You're a father now. So
thank you. Thank you
congratulations.
very much.
But, let me tell you, the first one's pretty easy. It's when the second one comes along and you start running out of hands and then one's looking at one baby and the other one's trying to wipe the ass of the other baby and then one's hungry and it's like, what's going on?
So I've heard. I had someone tell me that today, actually, that the first one is usually the easiest and the second one is a bit more difficult. I mean, given the fact that you're trying to take care of the first baby and then you got newborn to take care of as well. So there's a bit of tag team action there between the missus and I.
Mate, and it doesn't stop. And I tell you, as a proud parent, it actually gets easier when they're around about four and a half. So I've got two kids.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
One that's 8 and the other one that's 6.5. And now it's like I'm semi-retired. It's so easy because they look after themselves,
and each other. Yeah, that's awesome.
And then they hang around with each other. They play with each other. It's fantastic now. But let me tell you, the first 3-4 years, mate, it was an absolute nightmare in a good way because it's nice to, bring up your kids. But
of course,
yeah, it was full on.
Oh, bless, man. I'm going back on Monday, so it's going to be quite difficult, I think. It's going to have a bit of FOMO and just having my daughter, not waking up to my daughter and being with her most of the time in the day. So it'll be quite challenging for me, but it'll be good.
No, it's beautiful, brother. Beautiful. How did you come up with Djaysonic, the name, anyway?
Well, I mean, with myself personally and I guess professionally as a wrestler, I mean, I'm kind of different to a lot of people where I don't just have a character that's just random. I've kind of utilized my real life DJ because I am a DJ and the name is Djaysonic. So I've utilized that in the professional world as well of wrestling. So kind of just migrated that over and it's more of a, I guess a turbo Djaysonic in the wrestling world when I come out. So it's pretty cool.
I was at DJ as well, eh?
Really?
Yeah.
Like, oh, nice.
Like, I don't want to put tickets on myself, right? But I was, one of the best hard trance DJs out there. But anyway, look, let's not. That was a long time ago.
Hey,
this is when we're doing records. You know what I mean? Now they're doing everything's pre-mixed now, and it's just too easy now. But
no, I don't do any of that shit. I started on discs. I used to have a big ass folder of CDs with all my special labels on them that I made and printed out. So I was organized. And then I kind of got sick of lugging the discs around and, just having to, download music and then organize it and all that crap. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to freaking migrate over to digital. And I did that. And it's such a time saver. I'll say that.
Yeah, no, fair call. What music did you play anyway? What style?
I kind of play everything. So I've been in the music industry and the wedding industry for 13 years now. So something else I do is I'm a professional drummer, which we can get into very soon. So yeah, I started drumming and DJing 13 years ago or professionally at events like weddings and birthdays. So I've kind of become an all-round DJ. So to be honest, the majority of stuff that I play is like old school R&B, 80s, 90s, the new stuff, new R&B's top 40, and house and dance. So pretty much a mixture of most genres. So I think I've had to adapt to that, being in that industry in the music industry. So
Yeah, so I understand exactly what you're saying. So basically, like when I first started, when the dinosaurs were roaming the streets, um, so it was all for like basically I was playing like I had my own radio station. Not my own radio station, my own radio station show, and it was quite fun. I really enjoyed it, and we stuck to that sort of that style of music. At the time, it was high energy, and then we progressed into more harder trance. So, and doing raves and whatnot and stuff like that, which was very good.
Oh, that's awesome.
But as I got older, started doing a bit more housey stuff. But what I did was the last 2 years of DJing, I actually did similar to what you did. So I started my little company and started doing all house parties and birthdays and weddings and all that stuff. So let me tell you, that's where the money is. I'm just putting it out there.
It's true.
Yeah, the money was ridiculous there.
Are you Italian?
No, I'm Greek.
Greek. Okay, cool.
My wife's Italian. Unfortunately.
Okay, cool.
Married an Italian.
So, I mean, it's kind of same. Well, we're all the same. I'm Lebanese, by the way.
Same.
My background.
Same.
So I've done so many weddings there, but I wasn't sure what I was going to say after that. I really kind of forgot. But La Montage. Okay, cool. No, that's awesome. That was just
hang on a second. So you're Lebanese, are you? Background.
Yeah. Background of Lebanese.
Like what? Fully hectic Lebo, or like from where?
I mean, my parents are fully Lebanese, so they're from Lebanon. They're born there.
Nice.
I'm born and raised here. But as you can tell, I'm not really a fully Tabuli. Oh my god, kind of guy.
Bro, what do you mean, bro? Like it's full
I
crack.
don't know. I don't even go for
Hey,
that
listen,
still.
Alex. Say what you want to say, but don't you dare say anything about Canterbury. You got that? Okay.
You mean the wooden spooners, Canterbury?
All right. Well, I'll cop her in the chin. All right, no problem. I'll cop her in the chin.
The only won 3 games this year, Canterbury.
Hey, you know what my motto is? If you're not first, you're last. So just join the queue, bro. It's all good.
Hey, I don't have much of a comment to make. I don't really watch NRL.
It's probably better anyway. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, okay. I don't really watch any other sport but wrestling, to be honest. But
wow. So
yeah,
how did you actually get into the industry?
Okay, so basically, in a nutshell, I went through a very hard time in high school. So I was really bullied a lot, to the point where I tried taking my own life, and fortunately, it was not successful. So funny story is that I've only just recently kind of opened up about this because it was obviously a private situation, but I think I've moved and progressed in my life where I'm really open and bringing awareness to people. But so I was bullied quite a lot at school, probably from year 9 up until year 11. And the only outlets that I had in my life were music and wrestling. So from a young age, I've been watching wrestling for a while. Now, obviously, with that, with music, I was always doing music in school. So I guess my outlet was always hitting drums. So that's kind of where I progressed from drumming as well. So I guess letting out all of the negative and toxic. Yeah. So it kind of helped me through with my music. So I pursued that for a while. So it wasn't until I finished year 12 in 2008 where I kind of left school. I was overweight, so I was getting bullied for quite a few things, but my weight was one of the biggest things. Hence why I'm so health conscious and body conscious. But anyway, so I left school and I lost like over 25 kilos. I was determined to, lose weight. And then as time progressed, a couple of years later, I kind of had another turning point in my life where I was struggling to find work and whatnot and to find something that I really wanted to do. And all I've ever wanted to do was, get into wrestling and get into music. So that turning point for me is like where everything ticked in my head. And I literally Googled wrestling school in Sydney. And I also Googled music colleges in Sydney as well. So I ended up applying for a music college. I got into this private college called JMC Academy. I had to audition and stuff, so I was successful with that. And then I ended up applying for a wrestling school called AWF, so Australasian Wrestling Federation, which I think is now called Australian Wrestling Federation, the School of Pro Wrestling. So that turning point is where everything started for me again in my life.
Oh, fantastic. Look, I hate when I hear stories about bullying. I think it's the lowest form. And it's the lowest thing a person can do, I think, apart from obviously murdering someone or raping someone.
Yeah.
But bullying is dead set one of the worst things ever. Spineless, gutless people only do that.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely terrible when that sort of shit happens in the schools, and it still happens, by the way.
It does.
And I just make sure that I say to my kids, if anyone bullies you, you make sure you go to your teacher straight away and you tell them exactly what's going on. I don't like the old, dobbing on this kid and dobbing on that kid, but when it's stuff like that, it's not even a joke. It's
Yeah, I agree. It's not easy, man. I was very lucky because I'm not going to say teachers do this because I was a teacher for 7 years. I was a music teacher. So when I finished high school, I actually went back to the school I was teaching at, and I was the drum teacher there for 7 years. So, but the thing is that I was very fortunate enough to have one of the teachers notice, I guess the next day that I had some stuff on my wrist. So, which kind of just, was a red flag to him. Now at the time, obviously I was, scared shitless, and I didn't know much about what I did. Like I wasn't aware as, an adult would be to say like, fuck, this kid has just tried taking his life. Red flag. What am I going to do? So, this teacher and I, since that day, have been so close, and to this day, like we keep in contact. Because he was pretty much kind of my savior and got me the help that I needed. So, he's come and watched me perform, and in both with band and with wrestling, he's come to some shows. So it's been pretty awesome.
It's good to have a good story at the end of it, because that sort of shit. There's some people out there that can't take anymore, and basically give up. And I just want to say to people that are listening, like if you guys don't feel well, it's okay. Not to feel well. Sometimes we have bad days. Others we have good days. But please speak to people. I know personally for myself, I've gone through not so much depression or being bullied, but I've gone through some anxiety issues. And it doesn't matter whether it's depression, you've been bullied, or anxiety, whatever it is. It's good to speak to close family and friends, and even get some proper help. Call some really good helplines out there that can help you with the situation that you're going through. So it's not a joke, and please, guys, if anyone's struggling, just reach out to your family, friends, or helplines.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. And I just want to put it out there too. Like, don't be ashamed of speaking out. Don't be ashamed of reaching out. And I mean, look, I'm not plugging my Instagram, but if anyone ever needs to make a contact or need to speak to someone that has been on the same path, or a similar path, again, I tried taking my life. I dealt with depression, and I still have major anxiety. So it's not something that goes away straight away, but dealing with it is quite important. So if you feel, anyone that's listening, that you need to talk to someone, please hit me up on Instagram. It's Jason Isaac Official. So I'm here to be an ear and a shoulder for you to listen to, and to to help you.
Yeah, definitely. We'll make sure we'll put all your socials on our Facebook page, and that's so if anyone wants to get in contact with you, all your information will be there. No dramas.
No, thanks, man. Look, mental health is very important. It's where I work. I work at a gym. I'm a gym manager, and also coach. So it's so important. We pride ourselves on mental health. So it could be just finding that outlet that's going to help you. So for me, again, it was music, wrestling, and now it's my training. So try to find something you love that's going to help you and, be your outlet in life.
Totally agree, bro.
So you mentioned that you were a wrestling fan when you were younger. Who was your favorite wrestler when you were younger?
So my favorite wrestler growing up was Jeff Hardy, still is.
Yeah, I love it.
So I think I guess right now, like, I don't know if people have seen my stuff, but my finisher is a Swanton Bomb as well. So it's kind of inspired by him. So I love the fact that he was as well back in the days and still is like a crazy high flyer. He, always would come out with his stocking wristband thingamajiggy. Like he was different, and that always stood out to me. So he was probably one of the main guys that I used to love watching.
If there was one wrestler, past or present, that you could wrestle, who would it be and why? Would it be Jeff Hardy?
Definitely Jeff Hardy. Yeah, he'd be one of them for sure.
You still watch a bit of the wrestling now?
Yeah. So I'm currently watching mainly AEW right now, to be honest with you.
Who is it, mate? Who is it? Join the club.
It's gonna be honest, since I probably shouldn't be saying this, but you know what? It's fucking, it's the truth, and I'm transparent, black and white. I kind of lost interest in watching wrestling last COVID. And I probably, normally like I would watch the whole show, but now I was started to watch highlights from WWE probably a couple months ago, and now I've kind of started getting back into it. So I think AEW kind of re-sparked that all for me.
So your career, I mean, the highlights so far, I know you had a lot of matches, but what's your highlight now for your wrestling career?
For wrestling career, I'd say the biggest highlight would be, I'd say a few things. I would say, obviously, my debut was the biggest thing for me. And the next thing would be winning my first tag team title. Or we're just winning. That was actually my first title that I ever won. So that was probably my biggest highlight for me.
You've been in the ring with the likes of Robbie Zuko, Mick Moretti, Blake Stone, Vinny Vane, many top wrestlers of the Australian wrestling scene. Who is your favorite opponent that you've been in the ring with? And if you could pick a specific match, which match would that be?
My favorite opponent to work with is actually probably two people. It would be Kasai. And also
Deadshot
Kasai. Yep. He's bloody man. He's really underrated. Really, really, very, very talented, I should say. And he knows his shit too, so he's really good. And the other person would be Vinny Vane. He's a close friend of mine. So, probably those two guys.
Awesome. With Kasai, the first time I met Kasai, I didn't know. Like, we were wrestling there at VCW at training.
Yep.
And then this guy just rocked up, and he just came for one night, and I was like, oh, this must be a new guy or something.
Yeah.
And then I just seen him in the ring, and I'm like, wow, this guy is good, man.
Yeah, and, man. He's done a lot of work.
He was wrestling some of the boys. Yeah, no, he was really good, and I found out he's Greek as well. He's wrestled a few of the VCW shows and that. So
yeah, I think he has.
Yeah, I think Vulcan really likes him. But no, it's really good wrestler.
Yeah, he's very talented, man. Yeah, he'd be my top pick for best matches. I've had a number of matches with him actually, so every match I've pretty much had with him is pretty good.
So you said you trained under Mr. TNT, Greg Bounds, in AWF.
Correct.
What was that like?
Yeah, it was good, man. Like, he started off in 2014, as I mentioned, when I was Googling wrestling schools, and it was what did I do? I signed up for the Dream Camp. That's how it started. So back then, what Greg used to do, or TNT used to do, was run his sessions and his courses on school holidays. So I started mine on the January school holidays. That was a Dream Camp. And then as time progressed, I ended up doing my beginners, intermediate, and advanced courses with him as well. So, and then 2 years later, I ended up debuting in 2016 with AWF. So, and I'm still there. Like, it's kind of my home company. I've never left there. So, and Greg's been really good to me. So as well, like looks after me now, and is a good person.
Aside from pro wrestling, you're a musician. Are there any other passions you have?
Did you say aside from wrestling?
Aside from wrestling, yeah.
Well, I mean, training, so gym and my music. So they're probably the two main things. But music is probably pretty much the second thing for me.
Yeah.
I've had a pretty awesome career as a musician. I mean, aside from performing for the last 13 years, when I did my music degree and finished in 2016, I got an awesome opportunity. I got a call from a manager who was taking care of a band that were on the X Factor that were called Brothers 3. So the manager just said to me, we were interested in having you touring with Brothers 3 from X Factor, and they're the top 3 finalists. Would you be interested in coming on tour? I'm like, absolutely. It's every dream for anyone or any musician to go on tour. So I ended up going on tour around Australia. It was the best experience of my life. We drove around pretty much the whole east coast of Australia. So I got to experience what it was like to be on the road, and just have random fans come up to you to ask for your signature and for your photo. Got a bit spicy sometimes in pubs. Whilst we're trying to have dinner, it's like, okay, boundaries. But I guess, excuse me, I guess that's the life that people choose. I don't know how celebrities do it, to be honest. But yeah, it's pretty awesome, man. I got to do that, and then I ended up getting a gig with another top 3 finalist from The Voice. Her name was Issac. So I was her drummer and her DJ as well, personal DJ at shows, and I went to, I think, Queensland and Melbourne with her. So that was cool. And then I guess the biggest opportunity I've actually ever had as a musician, besides from that tour, was performing at the Sydney Kudos Bank Arena in front of 20,000 plus people.
Wow,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So the experience was crazy, and if you guys have been to like a live wrestling show where you're at an arena and you understand, hearing people screaming and chanting and clapping, that's what I personally got to experience. And honestly, it's still giving me chills right now. But it was actually really emotional for me to experience that. It was an unreal feeling. It was like a dream come true.
Yeah, there's nothing like an atmosphere in like a live wrestling show, so I can just imagine how it would be.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool, man.
So you've held a couple of titles in your career, and you're the current AWS World Heavyweight Champion at the moment?
Yeah, so we basically went into lockdown, and so I had the title for a while, and there was some complications behind the scenes between Booker and well, I really should get into it, but it was pretty much some stuff behind the scenes with the company, and basically I had no title to walk into a show with, which was unfortunate. So I basically had to no-show some shows just due to the fact that I had no title as the champion, and unfortunately, the champion wasn't getting booked for the shows. So a couple months later, I think when we came out of lockdown, they were booking shows, and unfortunately, I couldn't make a couple of shows. So I did the right thing, and I knew I was having a kid, so I just relinquished the title. It was only fair to the boys behind the curtain that there's a real fighting champion that could come to shows and attend, and be there for the fans and put on some entertainment for the company. So I guess I did the right thing, and I just relinquished the title. So I don't know if that's been publicly announced or shown to, I guess, anyone. I'm not up to date with anyone in that company. So no bad blood. It's just, it is what it is, man. I just had to do the right thing.
Yeah, no, fair call. And you mean your future goals for wrestling?
Definitely want to go back into state. I'd love to go to Adelaide. Sorry, Perth. I'd love to go to Perth.
Might as well
And
throw Adelaide in there as well. Might
yeah,
as well.
and Adelaide as well. Well, no, I was about to say that. But thank you for getting that. And Queensland and Melbourne, they were awesome. I've wrestled there as well, so it'll be awesome
Yeah.
to get there.
I'm not sure if I read correctly, but in your debut year, which was 2016,
Correct? Yep.
you had 6 matches and unfortunately lost them all. Did that affect your confidence, and what motivated you to keep going?
Okay, so I guess when you start wrestling, you what's the best way to put it? You just kind of want to go over and get your shit in.
Yeah.
Now where I'm at professionally, I've been doing this since 2016. So I guess 5-6 years later, now I understand what wrestling is about as a performer and the stories and the position that we're in as wins and losses. That that's what happens. So back then, obviously, it was a bummer. I probably hated losing matches. And when you got people coming to watch it sucks, But now that I've kind of advanced and progressed and educated myself more on what wrestling's about, I don't have any regrets. So it happened because it had to happen. It was the right thing for the show. And when you're up against professionals, like my first match was against someone called Apollo. He's pretty known in the industry. So, as someone that's pretty green, it doesn't look right to be winning to someone that's been in the game for a while. But anyway, it worked out the way it had to, and I think the next year is when I ended up getting the title anyway. So it's kind of worth. It was definitely worth it.
Yeah, nice. So your last match was in June of this year?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
When wrestling shows start running again, who is one person you would like to get back in the ring with?
I'd love to get back in the ring with Vinny Vane. We both have quite extreme characters. So, I mean, he's total dick character, and then mine's like the fan favorite kind of guy. So, it works kind of hand in hand there. We're both, look, wrestling is all not just about in-ring style. It's not about in-ring wrestling. It's everything. For myself, I carry myself well on social media. I try to look the part. My gear's pretty good. Like everything I do is all over, pretty average to, amazing. So I'm not just your typical, guy that just focuses on in-ring stuff. So I kind of look at everything. My merch is like, I got merch, I got my social media stuff. I try to work on my body as much as I can, as well as my in-ring. And, so that's kind of what differentiates me from everyone.
Yeah.
I'm only doing this podcast with you because I thought I'm getting a free shirt. Is that still
Mate, wait in line like everyone else. Hey, I think I was one of the few people to actually get onto pro wrestling tees when it first not when it first came out, but you had to have a good following when you wanted to apply for wrestling tees. So I was actually really fortunate to get that over my all my social media stuff. So it was weird. You had to have a specific following, and you had to meet some criteria and crap like that. So I think they've changed it now.
Yeah, I've noticed there's a lot of Aussie wrestlers on pro wrestling tees at the moment, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I think there is now.
Lastly, are there any tips for any young aspiring pro wrestlers out there that maybe want to get into the industry themselves?
Of course. Well, obviously, find yourself a good and reputable company to do your training and your learning at. The second thing I would say, and this was some advice I was given, is when your mentor or coach is talking, sit down, shut up, open your eyes, open your ears, and soak everything in. That's probably the best advice I can give everyone that's looking at doing it. So you'll learn to appreciate the art in wrestling when you start to understand it a bit more, it is physically daunting on the body. It is very, it does hurt. After all, we are landing on steel and timbers and wood and all that stuff. So it's not your trampoline that everyone likes to say. I wish it was.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't have had an amazing broken collarbone and my head split open as well as some sciatic issues in my back, scoliosis. So wrestling doesn't help. But when you start getting in, understand art and try not to get your shit in all the time. That's a mistake that we all make. It's just wanting to get your stuff in your matches. I guess wrestlers will understand that the best. But yeah.
I guess that's the thing too, with all the wrestlers these days. They just really want to get all their shit in. But that's the way it is, I suppose, now, isn't it?
I guess, look, as I mentioned, I feel like I've really grown as a wrestler and progressed a lot. For me, it's all about storytelling now. So, and the psychology behind a match. So back in the days, as I mentioned, when I first started a couple of years in, I just wanted to get my shit in. I didn't really understand the art that well. But as time progressed and I started to understand more, the more guys I got experience with, they kind of grounded me in the sense that you don't need to do this if I'm doing this, because it tells the audience something. You know what I mean? Less is more. Use your body language and your facial expressions to, expose how you're feeling. Like if you're in a hold, show them you're in a hold. You're in pain. So I feel like time's progressed and I've learned a lot, and that's the tip I was trying to give to the new guys. Like, try to learn psychology. Best thing to give to learn.
All right, I guess that finishes us up for today. Thanks for coming on, Jason. It was a pleasure to have you on here.
Oh, thank you guys. It was awesome to be on.
Have you on again.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, I'd love it, man. It was definitely great to be on and having a nice chat with you guys.
And I hope to see you around VCW as well, man. Hopefully you come back, and because I didn't see the match there, but the boys told me you did really well. So,
thank you.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you around the traps, and it'll be great.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. I got a nice text from Vulcan, who's a gentleman, just praising and just he enjoyed everything. So that was great to hear. So we'll see how things go with it all in the near future, I should say.
Awesome, brother.
All right. Make sure you guys follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Box of Roses Podcast, and like and subscribe on YouTube. And we will see you next time.
See you later.
Thanks for having me.